All right, with this video, we're going to do the 6B value and finish up with erasing and adding in our details for this little grid worksheet. So make sure that you're ready with your sharpened 6B pencil. It needs to be kind of pointy or you won't be able to get your details in a precise way. Because your 6B is very dark, you need to be careful to start from the left and go to the right or the opposite if you're left-handed so that you don't make it very dirty as you draw. Alternatively, you could put a little post-it on the other side of your hand so that it helps to keep it clean as you're doing this. Remember, we're using the crosshatch technique, so I'm starting over here on the side, adding the crosshatch value in the background of the toy car. And I'm not going to use the 6B down here, just up in the shading that's along the side. I'm using medium pressure and trying to make sure that my lines are straight and layered, blending the value throughout this background. Right? Don't do the 6B all the way through all of the area that the 2B is going. If you do that, then you won't be able to see the value progression. Your value won't change. It'll just be dark next to light. So as we're doing this, you're going to add in some of the line work that you can see the artist used. Because we're trying to reproduce somebody else's work, we try to look at it and draw what we see, which means adding in some of the outlining details. And he's got a little line there and a little line here. There's a nice kind of shape line on the outside here and a little bit there, and it picks up again here at the bottom. And then there's just a little bit of tone down there. This goes in underneath here, and then there's a little wiggly line down there. This shadow down here is pretty dark. Use my little hatches to make it dark. And you can see underneath the car is very dark, so I'm going to draw a line defining where that darkness should stop. And then I'm going to add in my crosshatch values for the shading underneath the car. There it goes. Now I'm going to go back and continue working on the wheel because I want to get that value in before I move on. So there it goes. And I'm trying to get it dark in here too. And then we're going to go around. And I'm going to get the value in here, but just a little bit. We go through there, and I'm going to get the value on the side of the car wheel here. Right, and I'm just checking to see where it's dark and making sure that I make it dark where it's dark. Cool. All right, so this side is pretty much done. And now I'm going to do a little bit of line work on the side of the wheel here. because I can see that the artist has put a line to define the edge. So I'm going to draw that in, and then use a straight hatch over here so that it looks flat on the side and has a value that comes out and goes from dark to light. I feel like I might need a little bit more value on this side, but I don't want to use my 6B for it because the 6B is just so dark. And so I'll go back into it with my 2B when I'm doing my finishing details. This has a bit of a dark line around here. There's a dark line on the bottom of his head. Kind of has a dark line around his head. But it breaks and is open. And then we've got some darkness in here. And we'll go ahead and get it nice and dark throughout down there. Here we go, getting some nice value. The tones are working out pretty well. Now I'm going to do the darkness in the background over here. And I'm just doing some crosshatch. Okay, now it's become time to do his little face. And I need this to be sharp when I do that. So his little hair is up there. Little curves. All right, that's pretty cute, maybe a little high but not terrible. And I'm going to put in his little smile next. No, I got that a little wide. There he goes. Oh, I'm so cute. Alright, so there's his little face, and let's get a little bit of 6B value on his head sphere. And a little bit underneath where it's blocking the light. Okay, pretty pleased with this overall. It's looking nice in there. Now let's get the darkness over here. I'm trying to get my stroke direction to match the artist's. Okay. Just working on the wheel now. Using my crosshatch. There's something lumpy underneath there. Using the same technique, even though it's really dark, you can tell when you look at it if the right technique has been used or if it's just been colored in. Okay, just going to crosshatch around for that. And let's finish up the crosshatch in the background. So then as you get done, take a look at it and think about where the tones need to be adjusted. This is not the time for adjusting parts of the drawing. I can see that some parts of my drawing are pretty accurate and some parts are a little bit off. It isn't perfect, but it's a good try. And that's kind of what I'm looking for from you, is a nice effort at this drawing. Okay, so now I have all of the dark value in. Now I'm going to go into it with my 2B and adjust some of the tones, right? Like the tones that we were talking about, or I was talking about on the front, that looked a little bit off. So I'm going to adjust those. Right, like that. I feel pleased with that. Now I'm going to go in with the 6B and do this little value right here that I missed. And it goes all along here. Okay, and then you need to look at it and see if it needs to be cleaned up anywhere. Is it dirty? Do you have any spots that need to be tidied up? I feel like this he's pretty clean overall, and I'm satisfied with him. If your hatch in the background needs to be blended a little, you can do that with your eraser. You just kind of hatch with your eraser, and it will help it to kind of come together and look like it's coming out. And when I do that, I realize that over here I have some area that I didn't hatch completely. And then just now I got it a little light darker than I needed to, so now it's lighter. Right, but that's pretty successful. So that is the end of the toy car drawing.